Hi everyone! So this is just going to be a really quick video, but basically it's a video, like the title says, comparing the Beauty Blender, the Real Techniques Miracle Sponge, and the ChiChi Cosmetics Blending Sponge. Okay, so let's get started with price points. The Beauty Blender on the Sephora in the US is $19.95, but I've seen it sold in Australia for, I don't know, $30, $40, and if you buy the double one, it's more expensive obviously, but it's quite hiked up in Australia. The Real Techniques Miracle Sponge is $6 from the Real Techniques website. I think iHope sells it for maybe about $6 or $7 as well, but you have to pay $4 shipping. In Priceline Australia, I've seen it for $12, I think, so quite a lot more. And then we have the ChiChi Cosmetics. I don't think this is sold in the US, it's only in Australia, and that's $5.95 Australian dollars. So you can see that the Beauty Blender is a lot more expensive. And then next is the Real Techniques, and then the ChiChi ones. Okay, comparing size-wise, I would say that the Real Techniques and the Beauty Blender are pretty much about the same size, and then the ChiChi is the one that's like slightly bigger. All three of these, when soaked in water, expand, so these are already wet. They're quite small. These two are quite small, whereas this one is still bigger in size when it's small and then expands a little bit. These ones expand a little bit more. And I use all of them wet. I don't use them dry because I find that they work better wet. Let's start with the original Beauty Blender. This is really spongy and light. Like if you take a look at how I'm pressing it right now, it's really squishy and it's not hard to squish. It feels really like airy inside. So when you put it under the faucet to let water go through it, it squeezes a lot of water out, so it's quite pliable in that sense. Comparing to the Real Techniques ones, these ones have a different texture. They're not as airy, I find. They're more like, when I press it in, I feel like there's some resistance before it actually bounces back to its shape, whereas the Beauty Blender one doesn't, like it just bounces back straight away. So this is more, it has sort of like a foam slash sponge hybrid sort of texture rather than this one, which is like a true sponge. But this one works just as well, like it's still really soft on the face, so it's a really nice sponge still in terms of like texture wise. Now with the ChiChi one, it's a little bit different. It's more similar to the Real Techniques in a sense that it has that foam sponge hybrid feeling, but it's quite a lot denser. When I'm pressing it down like that, I feel like it's a lot more dense inside compared to this one where it feels thinner. So when I put this under the faucet and I let water run through, it gets so heavy, and when I squeeze out the water, I find that the water comes out, but it's still so much water retained inside because it's so dense. So it still has that sort of resistance where it doesn't bounce back straight away, but it's still a good sponge. Now I'll show you applications of how I put it on my face. I'm just using basically a normal foundation. It's not liquid ones, it's not super creamy, it's just a standard foundation texture. Now applying with a Beauty Blender, I'm all using the same side. I'm not using the ends, I'm using more like the egg side of it, and I'm just patting it on my skin. I'm not swiping, I'm patting. I find that with the Beauty Blender, it works really fast. It just pat, 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 and your foundation in, it's like on your skin and it looks like skin. When it goes into the creases around the nose or like underneath the eyes, it works it in really nicely because I find that the sponge is so soft and pliable that it just works it in there, like it bends together with your face shape, if that makes sense. So I really like the Beauty Blender. I've always liked it from the first time I've tried it. And then next, I'm going to use the ChiChi Cosmetic Sponge on the other side of my face. And this one, it blends it really nice as well. I find though that it takes a little bit longer to blend. Not because the size is bigger so you think that it'll be faster, but actually it's because I find that it's so dense that if you press too hard on your face, it actually leaves like the egg marks on the side. Like you press once and then you shift to the side and press again, the overlapping marks are there, whereas the Beauty Blender doesn't have that. So I feel that you have to go over a couple more times to blend it to the same finish as the Beauty Blender. And I also find that because it's a lot more dense, it's a little bit harder for it to shape to the crevices of around your nose. So like I have to really push it into the crevice of the nose to get it to actually work it in there. But the final result is still really good. It's unless I use a magnifying mirror and go like really, really close. Other than that, I really don't see that much of a difference between the ChiChi ones and the Beauty Blender. And then on the forehead, I'm using the Real Techniques ones. And it's the same, it works it in, it pat it in, it goes in so fast. I would say this one, the speed of applying the foundation is a little bit faster and comparable to the Beauty Blender. So the ChiChi one is the one that takes a little bit longer among the three. I've only just bought the ChiChi one, so I can't say much for the durability. But I find that the Real Technique sponge actually doesn't seem as durable. I've had these for about the same amount of time and I still feel like this one is going strong, whereas this one seems like it's about to tear down. I mean, when I get my nails in it, you can see this happens, but I've done this to the Beauty Blender as well, so that is just probably any sponge. But I just feel like this one is starting to die on me. So I don't know how you use sponges, but I mean, at the end of the day, all the three sponges work really well. I would use all three of them. Like, they give you really flawless finish. I can do my whole face with that. I can do primer, I can do foundation, I can do concealer, I can even do powder. So I would use all three of them. Obviously, the ChiChi and the Real Techniques are the cheapest, so if budget is a priority to you, definitely go for these two. I'm just a sucker for how this feels and how soft and bouncy it is, so I think my first preference is still this one. Still the Beauty Blender. Apparently I just have too much money to spend. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly say how I wash these sponges as well. Here I have the Beauty Blender Cleanser Solid Form. I've tried the liquid one. It was okay, really. I feel like it's just any other. So I tried the solid one because people have said that the solid one works better than the liquid form. It works well. I still find that like once my sponge has a little bit of foundation in it, I still find that I have to wash it a couple of times with the Beauty Blender soap to get the stain completely gone. So it takes a little bit of a while. It works well. What I like about it though is that it's palm size, so I can actually just work it in there and then wash under the faucet, and like I don't have to feel like, you know, it's a big liquid bottle. So that one is good for traveling. But I have an option. This is called Detergent for Puff and Sponge. There's no actual name to it, but it's basically Daiso's sponge cleanser. This is like, I don't know, $2 or something like that in Daiso. It cleans so well, even better than the Beauty Blender options. Like, if you find that the Beauty Blender cleanses or any other thing stains your sponge, this will get rid of the stains so fast. Sometimes I'll just use this one time on the sponge and it gets rid of all the stains and the sponge looks brand new. So definitely go check this out. I got recommended this by my makeup artist friend, so yeah. Okay, so that's my review on all three of the sponges. I hope this is informational to you. If you have an opinion that contradicts mine, or if you agree with what I'm saying, please leave it in the comments. Let me know what you think, or if you found a better sponge and you feel like I need to try it out, please by all means let me know, and maybe put a link as well so I can just buy it offline, because I know a lot of things aren't sold in Australia. But other than that, thank you for watching my video. I hope you have a great day. See you in the next video. Bye! Kitty. Kitty. Hara. Hui. Hi.